Good evening to us all, and thank you so much for coming to this cocktail party this evening. How am I going to talk after what Jeremy said, giving me the challenge to be what he has described me to be? As Celeste said, Nyumbani is now 27 years old. Starting in September 1992, when we received our first 3 children, totally abandoned children, to today, when on the 14th of June, we will have our first wedding. Our graduate, Bernard, is marrying Grace. I wonder, did Father Dag, we called him Father Dag, our founder, did he envisage that it would be weddings from now on? But of course, for him, nothing was impossible. So just to give you a brief overview of Nyumbani, as I said, we started on the 8th of September 1992, and we were receiving children who were totally abandoned, left on the side of the street, left behind in hospital, abandoned by extended family because of ignorance, fear, and the stigma of HIV. In those days, there was no definitive test for HIV in babies until they were about 15 to 18 months. So the majority of our children tested negative after 15 to 18 months, and we were very happy that they were adopted. But those who stayed behind us, all we could do for them at that time was to give them quality care for the short life of about 3 to 5 years they would have. But Father D'Agostino, aware that in his country, United States, antiretroviral medication was available, he lobbied and lobbied, and by 1999, we managed to start getting antiretroviral medication for our children. And now they grow up like any other child, dream their dreams, and are realizing them, as Bernard is. Currently, we have 110 in residence. It's slightly less than we've had. And that is because there is the prophylaxis now to prevent the transmission from mother to child. And so, thank God, that is happening in Kenya as it has happened in the developed world. Right from the beginning, we knew that we needed to reach out to children living with HIV in the informal communities surrounding the city of Nairobi, which we pejoratively call slums. We started with a mobile clinic, and then we got centres, and today we have 8 centres, and we're caring for 3,100 children living with HIV and 500 babies who got the prophylaxis at birth, but because there's breastfeeding, which is compulsory in Kenya, we have to monitor them so they don't inherit the virus through breastfeeding, and also to ensure that they get sufficient nutrition. But it's marvellous, 500 babies who didn't inherit. Honourable Jeremy Hunt is visiting our community-based programme in Kibera tomorrow morning. We're delighted about that, absolutely. So what else he's doing in Kenya, I don't know, but, but he's visiting Nyumbani, right? In the early 2000s, one morning, Father D'Agostino came into my office and he said, "Read that," and he shoved the newspaper at me. That was the story of how police had shot dead 17 youngsters who were scavenging for food in Kinshasa. And he said, "That's what's going to happen here if we do nothing about it." And so another call to reach out to the 2 left-behind generations of the HIV pandemic, grandparents left behind to bring up their biological grandchildren, and family groups headed by the eldest in the family, child head of households. So, how would we do it? Well, we'd have to build a village. Okay, so we better get an architect, and we better get a plan, and find out what building blocks we need, etc. And so we started in 2004. We got 1,000 acres of land in Gatui County, and we started inviting grandparents who, because of age and destitution, were not able to bring up their biological grandchildren, and we asked them to take into the family groups from the child-headed households. And so we would have a blended family headed by the grandparent. So we built and we built and we built, house after house after house, school after school after school, because we needed schools, a primary school for the children, and then secondary school, and then a vocational training centre. And of course, we needed a clinic and a laboratory for medical care. About 10% of the children are living with HIV. The others didn't inherit the virus. It's family groups that we bring into the village. So that was the last call Father D'Agostino had. Sadly, he passed away, and the day after we buried him, we opened the village. But he knew that the village would start. And so we are extremely grateful to our Nyumbani Hot Courses UK board, who sponsor, starting with Jeremy and his partner Mike Elms, sponsor children in the community-based care program for education. And then when we needed a primary school in the village, Hot Courses built the first classrooms and funded the running of the school. And then when we needed a secondary school, Honourable Jeremy Hunt managed to get 2 friends of his, the Lawsons, to build the beginning of the secondary school and to fund it. So now we are extremely grateful to our board in UK for continuing to raise that money. They need to raise about 350,000 sterling pounds each year. That's, I think, the budget this year. And it grows as the time goes by. So we are extremely grateful to you who are supporting us, and hopefully you'll continue to support us. God bless you all.